Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Thorn Alliance. I'm Jacob,
I'm Luke.
and in today's video, we're doing notice a trend with Apple TV Plus with how they kind of do things with starting strong with season one and then going completely bonkers with season two. If you can, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, comment down below if you agree with our assumptions and our analysts. Of course, there's some outliers, but I don't know, it's just a trend we've noticed. Which show do you think we should bring up to our...
Well, let's think about it. The shows so far that have got multiple seasons on Apple TV. So we've got
Mythic Quest,
Morning Wars,
Truth Be Told,
and Ted Lasso. They're the only ones I can think of, or ones that I watch. C has a second season, but you've seen season one and not two, and I haven't seen either of them. So we can't comment on that. But so far, we've noticed that season twos have either been really bad or nowhere near as good. Like, some have been okay, but not as good. But there's been some that stand out that are horrible, and I hope there's not a season 3. So the first one that probably comes to mind that got a season 2 was Mythic Quest. So we both liked Mythic Quest. You enjoyed season 1?
Yeah, season 1 was great. They had potential storylines for season 2, and then they didn't do anything with that.
And season 2 was a funny one. It went from this cool concept of they work in a gaming company, they're making something similar to like a World of Warcraft or a League of Legends style game. And it was funny, there was banter in the office, but then it just moved to season 2 of, they let COVID obviously got in the way a bit, and they changed some of their storylines and the way they filmed it, but there was just characters that became annoying that we once liked. They didn't introduce anything really new, and it just had such a poor concept throughout the season. It really went nowhere, and then they kind of shot themselves in the foot and almost, I think they ended the season. I think the way season 2 ended was their way of saying we're not making another season, which I wouldn't be opposed to. I don't know if I want to go through another season of that.
Yeah. It's a shame because how they wrote season 1 is that the main character basically has a son and they could have dealt with that, but instead we got this lesbian storyline with one of them wanting to become a game developer, what was fine, but that's not what was wrote in season 1. They didn't set up anything, and I don't know, it just felt strange.
Yeah, that was the worst part of season 2, not because of the characters they chose to focus on or because of their gender or sexuality, is the fact that they were not important in season 1, and then they became the main focus almost of season 2, and the main characters kind of got pushed to the side, which is a really odd move. Because season 1 we were sold on Iron and Poppy being the main characters and our main focus, but then season 2 moved away from that, and it was like a whole new show where the new main characters weren't interesting. It was a really strange thing. My thought is maybe because of the writers, now that Always Sunny in Philadelphia got renewed for some more seasons, because they also star and produce and write for that they've maybe kind of let Mythic Quest die on purpose so that then they don't feel obligated to continue with the project. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's a shame because it had potential, but season 2 was kind of I don't want to say it was nothing, but it was just nothing in the same league as season 1. Like, basically the storylines we got in season 2, and does this sound interesting to you? Basically, we got one of the lesbian programmers wants to become a game developer, but blames males for not achieving that. And then we got the assistant wants to swap between every dominant male. That does not sound like a good story.
No, they definitely focused on the B grade characters that weren't of interest and tried to make their storyline interesting. But throughout there was flaws where you're like, well, you could improve your situation. You could do this. They made them unlikable. Like they really made them, and even the main characters. Like I've began to get sick of Poppy. I found Iron not pleasant to watch. They really made you hate the show. Like, I find it hard to recommend it to anyone.
And did you even buy at the end that Iron even created this game? It's like when he said to his art direction, "You'll create, you'll do." It's like...
Yeah, well, they made out like he was some kind of prodigy, but then he seemed to know nothing about gaming, and he wasn't even very good at the game that he created either. So there's a lot of flaws in it, and it's disappointing because I thought it had a really good premise that could have had a few more seasons than what it did and remained funny. But yeah, it was very... They try to create so much banter and arguments between these so outrageous characters that I don't think it was possible to work. I actually think they did. It was good for one season, but then beyond that it became irritating. So maybe that was it. Maybe its shelf life was one season. Another show I felt that did something similar was Truth Be Told.
Yeah.
We both absolutely loved season 1, and I think season 2 was probably one of the worst seasons I've ever seen of a show. Like, it was so bad. There was nothing to like about it. Nothing at all. What are your thoughts on season 2 of Truth Be Told?
Oh, they wasted their potential with the mystery aspect, and there was really no... They wrote reason for Kate Hudson's character, Monica, but really, what did we learn about her as a character? This is spoilers, by the way, that she stole someone's identity. Like, as a character herself, what did we learn about her? I don't know.
And I just think for a show that's about mystery, for it to be good, the mystery has to be hard to pick. But in the end, when you find it out, you go, "Oh, it was right there all along," or "That's so clever." This show was hard to pick because it was dumb, and then when you found out the reason, you're like, "That's not believable." So it ruined everything that's good about a mystery. Like, anyone can come up with a mystery. I could write a show where it's about, I don't know, a murder caused by this person, and we watch 10 episodes of it, and then in the 11th episode we go, actually, the murder was this character that we've never, ever seen or heard from. And you go, well, that's a mystery. Was it interesting? No. Like, the mystery needs to be, like, kind of under your nose the whole time, or unable to, like, hard to pick, but then you have to be able to go, wow, that's so clever. Like, the first season did that. It was so hard to pick who it was. It made you, every episode, it could be this person, it could be that person. And then in the end, you go, damn, that was clever. That was really smart. They did such a good job here. But season 2 was not. It was so dumb. It seemed like they gave each episode to a different writer and said, hey, you write a story, and then we'll try and glue it all together and try and make it seem like one big story. The amount of plot holes in this show for season 2 was insane.
They just should have let it be Monica at the start and actually made the confrontation in episode 5 mean something. Really, when you think about it, Poppy just shouldn't have had that confrontation with her friend, and actually they should have been on the same side. But because we like conflict for the sake of it, they basically had that conflict. When Monica could have been just like, I'll prove that it's not me. And
yeah, there was a decent premise there, you know, like husband's being killed, wife is the suspected killer, she has motive, which we slowly found out, and we go, yep, this could have been her. And then to just say, no, actually, she wasn't a bad person, we'll just say it was someone that worked for her. Why would an employee go and kill this lady's husband to protect a business that she's employed by? It doesn't add up. There's nothing about it adds up. And then there's just all these characters in there that are willing to kill, but for no justifiable reason. They're just like, yeah, we'll kill for this lady. She never asked me to do it, but I'll do it for her. Like, I think they were trying to make out that she was such a cult figure and everyone loved her because she was so inspirational that people would do anything for her without her asking. But they didn't sell it. They did. I know what they were trying to do, but it didn't come across that way.
Yeah, because she's a liar and she's stole someone's identity. So
And again, that like this premise that she stole a homeless person's stories, and because they were schizophrenic, she could tell it and people wouldn't question it. So much about that's so far fetched that yeah, it really. And then the whole Poppy thing makes no sense either. We have gone on about this. We made a video. You can go watch it, but it is the worst season 2 I've seen for a show. Another Apple TV show with the second season that didn't quite live up to it is.
You said Morning Wars wasn't as good as
Morning Wars was season 2 was fine. It just wasn't as good as season 1. So I finished it. Jacob like halfway through, maybe a bit over halfway.
Up to episode 2.
Oh, you only started. Okay, you know when you're finished.
No.
It compared to season 1. It's still entertaining, but season 1 was so groundbreaking and unique in what they were doing. So season 2, it did have big shoes to fill, and it did okay. It didn't have the same feel about it. It focused on a few different things, but I think the show was trying to extend its life. So it needed to plant some seeds in this season to go, how can we make a third season? What's it going to be about? I don't really think they did that well, but season 1 was absolute cliffhangers throughout, and then the way it finished, you're like, wow, I can't believe they did that. Where season 2 didn't really have that option. They added in the big cliffhanger what if moment where, like, I'm not going to give away spoilers on it, but there's something happens in it which is the pivotal point in the show, but it doesn't have the same effect that the end of season 1 did. It just couldn't compete with it. And then I can kind of see where season 3 might go, but it's definitely not obvious. This is, again, which is a trend I think with Apple. Apple as a company try and be so politically correct and so accepting of all, which is fantastic, but sometimes they do it at the expense of actually doing something right. So I think we saw in season 2 of Mythic Quest, they go, let's be more focused on LGBTQ plus community. Let's try and make them the main focus. I have no problem with that. You just ruined a good show in order to try and tick a box. Like, I don't even think people in that community would have liked that show. They would have been like, you have ruined a show we like to try and please us, and we don't even like the thing you made. I think this show does the same with Morning Wars. I think they try and focus a bit on people of colour. They try and focus on, like lesbians again. They're just trying to be so representative of everyone that sometimes I think they go overboard and they actually ruin a good show in order to be accepting. And that's disappointing for a show to do that. But Morning Wars is okay, like if Morning Wars season 1 was, I don't know, what did we give it? Maybe like a 4 or something?
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, like a 4 out of 5. This is, like a 3.5. Like, it's still solid. And the outlier of shows is maybe Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso season 2 was good. What you tell us a bit about your thoughts on Ted Lasso season 1 to 2.
I feel like season 1 was better, but it's not like season 2 was an epic fail like the other ones, but it was, marginal gap. I feel like season 1 is funny and season 2 more made it a drama about dealing with suicide. So it changed its tone, like you said before, Apple trying to tick a box. And we also got this storyline about how an older lady can date an older man. Do we really need that? Probably not.
Yeah, I think Notoriously, season ones I think are always better. So season 1 of Ted Lasso was so good, and season 2 of Ted Lasso was really, really good. It just wasn't as good, which that's just expected. The other shows are outliers in the fact that season 1 was exceptional and season 2 was so bad. Ted Lasso was like amazing, just not as amazing, but still amazing. Where the others, without Morning were chalk and cheese. One was so, like, they had the best premise and ruined it. Ted Lasso, season 1 was so funny, and then season 2, it didn't quite get to the same heights, but they've set it up so now we can have more seasons. There's the premise of season 1, they could not have repeated it. Otherwise, what would a season 2 been if they just tried to make it identical to season 1? They had to do something different. And I think it worked. I think season 2 of Ted Lasso was good, you know. If season 1 was a 4.5, season 2's a 4, you know, like it's still a really high rating.
So between the shows we've talked about, which one would you like to get renewed, and which one would you like to say bye-bye?
Well, we'll go through it. So Morning Wars, would you like to see another season of Morning? Well, you haven't seen all of season 2, but based on season 1, would you like to see multiple seasons of this show?
Yeah, I think Morning Wars is like Apple TV's strong like contender between the other streaming services. So I think they kind of need Morning Wars.
I'd like to see a season 3, given what I saw in season 2. I've got a suspicion of what season 3 could be about, so I think I'd like to see it. Move to Truth Be Told, do you want to see them trying to redeem themselves, or do you think they cut their losses?
I do believe in redemption, but it depends. Like, where did they go with the story? I don't really know, because if season 2 wasn't so mediocre and bad, I would be like, if it was average, I would be like, yes, but I'm very much mixed about it. I'll put it this way. If it gets cancelled, I won't be disappointed. If it gets renewed, I'll be like, oh, okay.
I think I'd like to see it cancelled because I don't think it can redeem itself. And if it does, do you really want a show where you go, oh, Truth Be Told, season 1's so good, oh, you don't want to watch season 2, it's horrible, and then season 3 gets better?
Nice.
Because that basically means that the writers have gone, oh, we got negative feedback on season 2, let's change it. And I think being a mystery, there's too many things to undo. Like, you could probably fix Mythic Quest. You could probably have another season of that and go, well, we're going to go back to what was funny in season 1. But I think a drama, you can't undo it. They have planted so many seeds with backstories and extra characters. You can't just ignore that. You can't wipe those characters out and pretend that never happened. So I don't think they can redeem it, and I don't think I want to see them try. I think I'll just, in my head, Truth Be Told, a limited series, 1 season. Don't season 2 never happened.
What about Mythic Quest?
I think it could redeem itself, but I don't think it is. I don't think there's another season coming. It definitely could redeem itself, mainly because of being a comedy. There's always a chance to regain people with laughter, and it's not hard to undo what they did. The way the season 2 finished, they could just go, well, season 3 we're starting a new company, which they were planning to, and then rebuild and get new characters, and you could live with that. You go, yeah, it makes sense. It sits in with the story. But I have a feeling there's not a 3rd season coming. But I would like to see them try and redeem themselves with that one.
And Ted Lasso?
Oh, we already know. I think there's a season 3 coming, and we can already kind of tell what season 3 is going to be about, and I think it's going to be good. Ted Lasso, I don't know how many seasons it has in it, but I would like to see as many as they can drag out, because it is a funny show.
So I guess wrapping up the conversation, why do you feel like Apple TV starts off strong with season 1 and then kind of season 2s aren't as strong? Do you feel like it's like what you said, they got to appeal to how society is, or groups within our culture? Why do you feel like it changes?
It could be a couple of things. You could look at it in terms of content. If Netflix are bringing out this much content, maybe this handful is going to be amazing, and we only see that handful. We can just ignore the other. But Apple TV are only bringing out this much content. So if they get any of them wrong, we go, oh, well, that sucks. You know, like if they're bringing out 10 original series a year and 2 of them are bad, we go, oh, well, that's 20% that are horrible. Netflix might bring out 100 original series and they might only get 2 that are horrible and the rest are okay, you know? So it's, well, I think maybe it could be the amount of content and we judge Apple TV more harshly. Maybe it could be, Apple TV, because even though they're originals, they're like Apple themselves, their employees aren't writing these. Like someone's coming to them going, hey, I've got this idea for a show, can you please make it? And someone at Apple goes, yep, that sounds like a good idea, let's make that. So I think maybe whoever's making those decisions is going, wow, this show about people making a video game, this sounds amazing, but they haven't really thought out, how do you make more seasons of this? With Truth Be Told, someone's came and gone,
it was based on a book.
Well, they've gone, this book is amazing, let's try and make a show about it. So they make the book a show, it's a success because the book was a success. And then there's no second book. So then the writers have to go, well, now we need to add a story to this. And they're like, we didn't think about this. Like, the book was good, doesn't mean we can write more books. Maybe there's a reason the writer didn't write a second book because there was nothing to write about. So I just think maybe they're making the wrong decisions in terms of what projects to pursue.
Why do you feel like Morning Wars works then?
Maybe it's the actors. I think when you get a cast with Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell, and Jennifer Aniston, people are going to watch because of that. And I think as well, actors like that, they don't accept projects unless they've read the scripts and feel like they're going to be successful. Jennifer Aniston does not need to make shows. She does not. So she would have had her experts read this and go, this is going to be successful, do this. Because she doesn't need to. She does not need to. The amount of money she makes off Friends every year.
And her movies.
Yeah, she does not need to make these shows unless she thinks it's going to be successful. So I think that's probably, maybe that's the one exception. Or as well, because of those stars in it, is there more people invested in saying, we need to make this show work. We really need to make sure this works. Where I think maybe Mythic Quest didn't have that. It was written by the guys from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They have their own other projects. Maybe they've gone, we've made this. Maybe they got signed for 2 seasons, but they only really had 1 season worth of content. So season 2 was like, oh, let's come up with some shitty ideas. Let's chuck something
Ted Lasso is working.
Yeah, as well. I'm fairly certain Jason Sudeikis has something to do with the writing of that. So he's the star and the writer. Why would he want to write bad content for himself? Plus, it's a concept that's good. Sport. People like sport. I think it's easier to write a sports story of underdog wins the championship at the end. Like, anyone can write that or predict that. Or you think it's going to happen and they lose in extra time. Like, sports can go one or two ways. Writing a murder mystery with 10 characters, who's going to be the murderer, what's the twist, that's harder to write. I think you and I could write a season 3 for Ted Lasso. Like, they've moved into the EPL and, you know, they might win it or they might do well in it. So, like, that's not hard to write. Like, they have a few games where they lose. They have a few games where they come from behind and win. Anyone can write that, and then we just write some dramas along the way. But yeah, mystery takes a bit more skill. So I think Ted Lasso is simple. It's able to write multiple seasons and be successful. You have any other final notes you want to add?
I guess it's unfortunate because from all the shows, like all the shows we've talked about are good. It's just you noticed the downfall, I guess, because Apple TV don't have as much content, so they can't afford to lose as many shows. It's like Netflix have so many reinforcements, they have so much content, but Apple TV doesn't. Like, we were talking about when Truth Be Told was at season 1, when everything was at season 1, it's like Apple TV have the best stuff, but now we're like, oh, does it really?
Yeah, there's nothing I really want to watch on Apple TV anymore. I really think Disney Plus has the best stuff by a long shot now. But I think Apple TV will come back, you know. they're kind of hidden under the radar. They make a lot of shows and movies you don't know of, and maybe that's because they're no good, but they're a bit secretive. Where like Disney Plus bring out something, you know about it. They advertise, people talk about it. Netflix is the same, but because of Netflix's model, they don't make the amount of money that the others do. Like we've looked into this, like I'm fairly certain Apple TV make a ridiculous amount of money because they somehow incorporate their cost into people buying other stuff, and they make their stuff cheap. Like it's cheaper because it's all in house, and they don't pay to, I know, have all 10 seasons of Friends on there. They only have originals, so their model, they make a lot more money, I think, that way. And Disney Plus is the same because they own their stuff. So I think Netflix are going to struggle against them in the long run, but Apple TV just need to get a few more runs on the board with some more quality shows.
Yeah. Well, thank you for helping, Luke. Hope you enjoyed this discussion. It's just a trend we've noticed with the Apple TV shows. Hopefully, the season 3s of it, whoever makes it between these shows are strong. Guess we'll wait and see. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Let the force be with you. Bye-bye.